You may have heard about the shocking sex abuse lawsuit being leveled at WWE boss Vince McMahon by a former employee.
Former WWE employee Janel Grant accuses McMahon of sexual assault and trafficking.
The scandal couldn't come at a worse time as the WWE signed a massive $5 billion deal with Netflix.
In the lawsuit, Janel Grant accuses McMahon of sharing sexually explicit photographs and videos of her with the wrestlers and recruiting men to have a threesome at the WWE headquarters.
Everyone at the WWE has reportedly been told to not say a word.
Do you believe her? Do you believe Janel Grant?
Oh, again, I don't know enough about the information to give you a good enough answer there. I'm sorry.
The parent company of WWE says they take the accuser's, quote, horrific allegations very seriously and are addressing the matter internally.
The wrestling internet is obviously arguing again, and it's not over a match, it's not over booking, and not over a championship. This time, it's going to be over real life. On February 20th, 2026, Janel Grant made her first public statement since filing her lawsuit in 2024, and almost instantly the internet wrestling community fractured into a different reaction: support, skepticism, fatigue, debate. Today we're stepping back from the noise and looking at the bigger picture: what happened and why wrestling fans can't seem to agree. So before we begin, let's talk a quick deep drop. Ground rules before we start. This video is obviously not going to be about deciding guilt or innocence, because that's going to be decided by courts at this point. The legal process is still ongoing, and everyone involved deserves, for the most part, fairness under the law. What we're doing today is simple: breaking down where the case stands, what was said in the February 20th statement by Janel Grant, and how the internet reacted afterwards. I can give you my thoughts, but obviously I'm not going to decide. I'm obviously not the person deciding guilty or unguilty. Before we do that, let's go through again quickly on the court update if you haven't seen my video previously on Janel Grant. So let's quickly reset the timeline. The lawsuit between Janel Grant and Vince McMahon, WWE, and TKO was filed in January of 2024 in February courts in Connecticut. Grant's lawsuit includes serious allegations, while Vince McMahon has denied wrongdoing and maintains the relationship was consensual. Since then, a major focus of the legal battle has been whether the case stays public in court or moves into private arbitration connected to a dispute of non-disclosure agreement. Earlier in the process, former WWE executive John Laurinaitis was removed as a defendant after agreeing to cooperate and provide information as part of the case. More recently, and this was part of a previous video, is that a judge denied early discovery requests by Janel Grant's group, meaning the case remains in a procedural stage rather than moving into full trial evidence or verdict territory. The latest development indicates both sides preparing for a potential arbitration hearing scheduled for June 2026, which will determine how the case moves forward. It will address oral arguments on whether the case should go to arbitration, with no exact date confirmed yet. This is not the final verdict on guilt. So as of today, no final ruling, no final verdict, and no legal conclusion yet. The case is still active and ongoing. Now, for those that don't know, arbitration means no jury. You don't have 12 people sitting there that are being influenced by emotion, by headlines, by things they've read, by how things they feel about the story in the case. You've just got a judge. It's procedural. It's different. And if I'm looking at it from a strategic point of view, I would think I'm going to be better off with a judge than I am with a jury if I was Vince McMahon. So that's why we are going to go through. After all that, we got an announcement after that decision that Janel Grant was going to make a public statement this week, which happened at the end of this week before the weekend, and let's take a look.
Welcome up Janel Grant.
I was writing this on the way in the car.
Why? Something I shouldn't admit. I wouldn't admit that. in my opinion, but okay. This is the first time we've seen Janel Grant since the filing, by the way. No one has seen her since 2024, and she's going to go through in her statement as of why she hasn't been showing up anywhere.
Wow, I'm a little taken aback. I really shouldn't be here. By a series of miracles that I can't account for, I'm alive today. Whew. On June 15th of 2022, my life...
Sorry, well, interesting for her to say that she is still alive. I don't know if she's trying to say she received death threats or anything like that. Hopefully she can elaborate on that.
was rewritten into someone else's storyline.
Sorry, let's rewind that.
On June 15th of 2022, my life was rewritten into someone else's storyline.
So we're going to pause right here because this became one of the biggest points of people being confused online. Immediately they thought
Janel Grant was at the an Alliance to End Sexual Violence event, and she discussed the impact of the NDA, and she was on camera. And man, this was when I watched it, I was like, man, this woman is very brave to come out here and talk about this stuff.
I mean, it was interesting, her perspective on everything. Particularly, she was very clearly hurt by that Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley storyline, which we kind of knew was based on it, but I didn't think like she would actually have any idea. And
I'm sure she just had people texting her saying, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this?
Yeah. So it was kind of like, from her perspective, I guess it would probably make you a lot madder that they kind of like, oh, this is how they react. They make it a storyline.
All right.
So I don't know if that's 100% true, because if you listen to her, is not particularly talking about this, but obviously a Wrestling Observer, and I'm sure the internet's going to go crazy because of this. They're stating that the initial Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley storyline, when Liv Morgan was trying to woo Dominic Mysterio, is inspired by the events of Janel Grant's life, between her and Vince McMahon and whoever else is involved. And a lot of people, obviously, internet being internet, already stating that it's a damn reach. In no realm of reality did WWE use Grant as a premise for story. They have been avoiding it for years. This is another typical Meltzer lie. So, obviously, because of that, Meltzer is going to get heat. And honestly, I have to agree with the internet at this time, because there's no actual evidence that what she's referring to, because she's saying in 2022, the Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley storyline that they are talking about takes place in 2024. Maybe they wait a couple of years and then do it, and that's why it's waiting till 2024. But again, we don't know if that's true or not. Meltzer is doing a thought, not really reporting. He's not being the Dave Meltzer reporter. He's being the Dave Meltzer guesser. I don't think he should be stating that, because you can get yourself in trouble until it's confirmed. As far as we know, she is talking about something else, which she continues with. But yeah, could somebody explain detail in the comments of how Rhea Dom Liv's story is similar to Janel Grant's case? I'm not saying anyone is wrong, but David spoke on it like it was obvious and I don't see it. Exactly. I mean, that type of storyline that Rhea, Liv, and Dom did can happen to anyone. It's a typical storyline that someone is trying to woo a man, and or a man wooing a woman. It could be either way, and it's through using explicit images and stuff like that. So you can take it like that, but I'm gonna say in my end, I don't believe that was the case. So she is talking about something else, and let's get to it.
And I was globally outed in the Wall Street Journal.
And that's the reason, that's the story that she's talking about. She's talking about the story that was written by the Wall Street Journal. Wrote a story about Janel Grant, and that's what she's going to get to.
I got a call that I didn't expect on the day of a very big meeting of a new job I had. And It was in front of my new bosses, and it was in front of a high-rise full of residents whose homes I was entrusted to protect. So imagine me getting a phone call I didn't expect saying that at any minute the Wall Street Journal would be publishing a story about me, Vince McMahon, and a non-disclosure agreement. I was told, if anybody asks me about this, I can't make a comment, I can't acknowledge it, I can't say I'm not okay, and if anybody approaches me, I can't acknowledge years of life to people who saw me live it. And it was like somebody set fire to my home intentionally with me still inside of it. So I blacked out and I ended up in a closet with a belt and a stool placed under a metal rod. And thank God somebody saw me and stopped it.
So it sounds like she was trying to. It sounds like she said, and thank God somebody stopped me. She ended up in a closet with a belt and a stool placed under a metal rod. So metal rod being the rod where you hang your coats. And then I guess she was trying to, it looks like she was trying to delete herself by using a stool. I don't know how high of a closet is. Usually these rods are pretty low. So I don't know if those aren't built with a high rod unless it's for a giant, I guess. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what she was trying to do.
A metal rod. And thank God somebody saw me and stopped it. But that is the life wreck and the mental health impact of this particular NDA. Oh my God, I wrote stick with me, I'm going somewhere with this.
What?
Okay.
I mean, she's laughing about, I wouldn't laugh about this, but I get it. But anyway.
So why am I here today? The people and organizations that have supported me when I was the loneliest person on planet Earth, when my life got decimated in the Wall Street Journal, with them I would not be here. And one of those people is Beth Hamilton.
Beth Hamilton. Okay.
I read something she wrote and it helped me. And around the holidays, Thanksgiving, I reached out to thank her. And so the act of just saying thank you, like a human to human moment, a phone call, when that leads to this moment, me being here, it feels like something in history is about to play out differently. It feels like the world may be signaling it's ready to change, like when somebody shows up to talk about NDAs.
I'm trying to understand what she's getting to, but okay, let's continue.
Workplace safety depends on transparency, because when employees cannot speak, patterns can't be seen. When patterns can't be seen, they can't be stopped. When they can't be stopped, harm spreads. When an NDA is used to conceal dangerous behavior, it simply relocates the harm to the next employee, the next office, the next victim. No one should be required to trade silence for accountability, and no workplace should be able to become safer for an institution than the people inside of it.
It seems like she's obviously trying to make a point with the NDA and why it's important for the case to go public.
So for years, I have watched my life play out outside of a window, and I am serious when I tell you I went outside 10 times last year.
And there you go. Why you never saw her. She barely, because due to the case, she got a big magnet in her life, and she didn't want that. But
that is the level of threat, that is the level of feeling unsafe, that is the level of power that I am on the other side of. With this NDA, I promise you, I have seen some of the worst in humanity, and I have seen some of the best colors ever in people. Okay. And that is also why I'm here. I might be leaving here the same way I arrived, which is deeply struggling, financially devastated, no family, isolated, but right now I am in a dress and I am smiling and I am standing in front of you good people who are willing to take a few minutes of your life and listen, and I thank you.
So if you don't know, Janel Grant has no family. All her closest relatives are gone.
I'm about to take you on a little bit of a ride here. Okay, I mentioned coercive control in my statement originally. I want to offer that as something to help you immediately. It's a tool that somebody gave me, 6 words, coercive control. It happens in increments. It changed my life. It empowered me. Suddenly I had words, incomprehensible moments and relationships. It made sense. Why questions suddenly were not like, they didn't sting. They were just something I wasn't about to answer because I understood person-to-person relationships, person to workplace, and person to world. Seriously, turn on CNN and just use a coercive control tactic and, point it out. So, with this one NDA, as I said, there are a lot of people living and working in fear here in Connecticut. This one broke the hamster wheel. For whatever you do going forward, the decisions that you make, let this be your #1 cautionary tale of what you do not want under an NDA. There are, just as an example, 5, we'll call them intersections, lanes of traffic associated with this NDA. You have a federal criminal investigation by the DOJ. You have an SEC investigation with criminal penalties. You have a shareholder derivative suit with a trial scheduled for June. You have a Second Circuit decision about the crime fraud exception that resulted in a loss of attorney-client privilege, and my civil suit. My God, that's one big pileup. So this NDA was a tool that Vince could use to justify anything while I remained in a system of exploitation.
So basically she's not able to do anything.
And actually in a position for anyone to exploit me.
NDA closes it up. Can't do anything about it. This is crazy.
So, in June 2022, Actions and Reactions told us a lot about who people are, what an environment is like, and whether we are safe. The company reached out and requested that I make a joint statement that this was a consensual relationship. And that
that was part of the NDA too, for them to make a statement that they were consensual relationship, which is part of the division in the internet, because that statement was made when it sounds like she was being forced, according to her, she's being forced to make that statement. Which could be very well true if the powers that be in the higher ups in WWE
to know this to the extent that I needed or wanted something, aka more money on the table. I refused. And then in the second Wall Street Journal story in July, the company spokesperson said it for me, that it was consensual. So someone, a group maybe, behind my back, without my knowledge, without my input, made that decision for me. It's consensual, we say so, and surprised that decision on me via the company spokesperson in the Wall Street Journal.
Everyone's been against her in terms of talking about the statement. They all made the statement without her. That's wild. They didn't come up to her. They didn't respect her at this point. If you can see it based on her statement right here, she's basically saying WWE, or those that she related to, which includes Vince, never consulted her in how to deal with this and did the statement without her, because to them it sounds like her decision didn't matter. She had to do what they told her to do, because they are the higher ups, they are the bosses, they hired her.
So leaving out one half of an experiencing party on a decision like that is not consent.
It sounds like she's trying to be, based on that statement, we should be closing out the NDA because she agreed to it, so it wasn't non-consensual, so it should, based on that decision, the NDA shouldn't even exist. And it's her, it's obviously very sounding that she is trying to push for this case to not go to arbitration. She wants this to become a public case, because if anything, it benefits her for her case to go public. But would it? Let's find out.
The company publicly announced an investigation, and I was given permission to participate in it. That was not going to be considered a breach. They perceived that I somehow already breached. I mean, that would have been the moment to tell me. Here's the part that I've been really waiting to say.
Okay.
That summer, I spent 6 figures to participate in this thing, their investigation on new legal retainers and on medical care that saved my life. I preserved my evidence. I believed that somehow I would be interviewed for this investigation and get my life back and figured out what happened.
Okay.
Then the feds reached out ahead of speaking with me. I was onboarding a brand new legal team. So while our hair was on fire and getting everyone onboarded, we gave them my evidence and said, review this in advance.
Okay.
Based on that objective review of hard evidence, communications with people across the company, and that includes leadership then and now, criminal misconduct informed us that this was now a covert investigation into human trafficking and the criminal misconduct of WWE, Vince McMahon, and this NDA. These are matters of both public safety and public interest. And if you want to know why this case, my federal civil lawsuit, is not an employment law case, that is because the feds requested that I say nothing, that this be covert, that they could do the work that they needed to do to investigate human trafficking and criminal misconduct.
So the feds got involved in this case.
So, while I was preparing to participate with the DOJ and the SEC and the company's independent investigation, the company's was closed without speaking to me, and I couldn't share that with anybody. I'm under an NDA. So I'm just going to speed skate like the Olympics through 2023 because I promise you, this keeps building up. There are people living and working in fear here in Connecticut, and there is a headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut right now that is full of intimidated people that I care very much about.
So right there, she's not the only one in WWE, at least WWE headquarters, not dealing with this type of thing. She is pretty much outright stating WWE higher-ups are doing more crap towards the employees there. So she might not be the only one dealing with similar situation in WWE headquarters that we know about. Everyone's scared. Maybe it's not to her level, but kind of like the level if you outright disagree with WWE higher-ups decisions, you might get fired. Or you might get in trouble. You may be even blacklisted for all we know. Because WWE is big enough to blacklist people if they want it. She's saying people in Connecticut are working in fear. That is pretty crazy statement to make.
3 years and 5 law firms cannot get answers about who, what, when, where, or why I breached. If anybody perceived it, they haven't shared it, and I felt like I was being punished for even working with the feds. In March of 2023, I got 2 things from the SEC. I got a subpoena, and I got whistleblower status.
Oh, shit.
3 days late, well, a couple days after that, forgive me, Vince McMahon and Ari Emanuel suddenly appeared on CNBC to announce a deal of Endeavor and WWE, so colored me the most surprised person on planet Earth. Then the FBI started to send me communications that I'd been identified as a potential victim. I got those letters for 2.5 years. Then in July, because it can't get better, a search warrant and a grand jury subpoena with my name in it and words like trafficking were served. Then, bigger, 2 more grand jury subpoenas were served on Jerry McDevitt and K&L Gates. Based on a ruling, it appears my name is in those subpoenas too. So then in September of 2023, the company paid for my participation in the federal investigation. I was out 6 figures. This was a lot more. So if anyone postures like this isn't serious, they spent some serious money on it. So I don't know how many more red flags you need, but going into 2024, when I filed my federal civil lawsuit at the last conceivable second, because I really didn't want to do this, I knew what I would be about to throw my life into, but I've been dragged in by this NDA into a federal investigation, the SEC, all the consequences, all the things that have happened that have made my life so small and isolated. I didn't start that. It's like it found me. I put myself in the shoes of everyone I knew, everyone I worked with, anyone who lost a job, has been intimidated, who was told something, got no answers. I put my name and my face on it. And by the way, my face, that's my work photo, because that's the...
She's condemning that she used they used the NDA as a tool for exploiting her. I mean, okay, sorry. She condemned the use of the NDA as a tool of exploitation on her, criticizing WWE's corporate culture at this point, and urged TKO to address the ongoing fears amongst employees.
The audience I needed to reach to tell them whatever you may have been told before, here I am. So, I could not have lived this truth bigger with that swan dive into the world. And in 2024, actions and reactions continue to tell us who people are, what environment is like, and whether it's safe. Sorry. I encourage you to ask yourself, how should a reasonable person and a reasonable organization respond to my filing when it mirrors a federal and criminal investigation? 2 examples, and keep in
August Virgo saying, poor girl has been going through this case for 4 years. How is she funding her life? Rent, bills, food. Terrible. Yeah, she just said she lost 6 figures through all this.
These are corporate leaders who knew me by name, by face, by office location, by emails, by text, by casual conversation. First, during this federal investigation, a love letter was purportedly found on a corporate laptop and published in the New York Post. The article also rewrote my life. Again.
So the feds didn't help, the NDA didn't help, and the New York Times, the 2022, the real thing that she's talking about, the story, is effing up with her life for all these years.
This was a public humiliation and an intimidation of a person who gets letters from the FBI that say victim, and it's also witness intimidation, discouraging others from speaking out, speaking to, or even associating with me for fear of their own well-being and their families.
And no one in corporate headquarters, workers wise, other staff people, would communicate with her, because any whiff by WWE higher ups that they talked about, whether it's a secretary or a storyteller or anyone ever they found out that they were talking to Janel Grant, for them, their life will be in trouble as well. Meaning, again, fired, blacklisted. They just F with their work life, make them want to quit. Who knows?
And in the summer of 2024, reporters and viewers noticed there were parallels between a storyline that unfolded for several months on television and my situation.
So let's go back to that.
Being and their families. And in the summer of 2024, reporters and viewers noticed there were parallels between a storyline that unfolded for several months on television and my situation. So
okay, I take that back from what I said earlier. It sounds like, maybe everyone else mad at Dave Meltzer didn't watch the full video like me. I only watched the beginning before this stream, so let's rewatch that again.
And in the summer of 2024.
Summer of 2024, that's around the story time of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley.
Reporters and viewers noticed there were parallels between a storyline that unfolded for several months on television and my situation. So does it look like we work in a safe environment?
So they did really use the Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley storyline when Liv Morgan tried to woo Dom into her storyline. I mean, Dave Meltzer is just stating at this point what she just said. Now, after all this, do I really think? I don't know. I mean, we don't know the details besides whatever's in the court paper. Who this? So is, I guess, Dom is the reenactment of Vince being wooed by Janel Grant, but who's the second woman? Is Rhea his wife? I don't know. It just, I still, okay, if she's stating it, but it feels like a stretch. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what you think.
When the destination point, if you're hurt, is weaponized use of your experience on live TV every Monday night for months, by their actions and by their reactions, that says a lot more about current leadership than it says about me. So, how do we make change in the world? By showing up in it, especially when it's a tough conversation. To the board of TKO, if you didn't know this part of your origin story, now you know. I hope You will have conversations with us. I will hope you have conversations amongst yourselves, and I hope that you don't rely on old instincts with new insight. All of you have some say in how my life turns out from here, including how quickly I may be able to move on and find help and healing. And leadership perhaps means stepping into the unknown, listening and discussing things, even when they're hard, being willing to take first steps like we are all right now here today. I mean, this is the second time I've ever even spoken about this. I would have thought there would be one more time by now, right? But it's been the feds and you, so thank you.
Oh boy.
And in conclusion, because speaking of healing, there are organizations like the Alliance who are willing to help people like me. And I'm committed to paying it forward and supporting others as they have supported me. I hope this time has helped to enlighten and educate and empower you in service of clarity that lead to dignified and productive conversations that create solutions. And when the right people meet at the right time for the right reasons, mountains can move. We're already taking steps forward today. The people in this room, the people listening, and we're all working forward to evolve, to create something safer and break the cycles that have caused so much fear and so much hurt and so much loss and grief for far too long. On a positive note, I want to say thank you for your time. I look forward to speaking with you, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
So, a few things that we can take away from this statement, which was how long? About 16 minutes. Wow. A 16 minute, it followed a few key points. The impact of the NDA. Grant described her non-disclosure agreement as a life-wrecking tool that isolated her and allowed for continued exploitation. And she claimed also that the Wall Street Journal article that was reported in 2022 felt that they just globally outed her and that her life had to be rewritten to someone else's storyline. So they rewrote her story, what actually happened, and basically she can't really say anything due to the NDA. The other key point that she brings up is her mental health struggle, which is her highly personal revelation. Grant stated that she is alive by a series of miracles and detailed a past suicide, which is the rod, the belt, and the stool and the coat closet, which I still think, unless she is, I don't know, less than 5 feet, unless she's less than 5 feet, maybe it's a thing, but those rods aren't that strong to hold a whole human body. But you guys tell me, I've never dealt with this. So she details a past attempt on her life that was only stopped when someone found her in a closet with a belt and stool. So that's 2 items. The third item that was brought up is the alleged coercion by WWE. Sorry about that. She alleged that after the initial 22 report, WWE reps approached her to sign the NDA, declaring her relationship with Vince as consensual. She claimed they offered money in exchange, which she refused. August Virgo saying Janel did a great job. There is no way she's wrong that speech on her way in. Okay? No, yeah. She did pretty good. I mean, she was pretty detailed, but I think, I don't know, I'm trying to understand also why there's a fan division. But let's keep going with the key points, because there's 5 of them. The other one is she did a call for reform. Grant argued that the works, and this one's important for those that are still in WWE headquarters. Grant argued that workplace safety requires transparency and that NDAs should not be used to conceal dangerous behavior or relocate harm to the next victim. She expressed concern for current WWE employees in Stanford, whom she described as intimidated. And I think that makes a point. NDAs are usually, as far as I understood, NDAs are used in a way to keep secrets. And what I mean by secrets is product secrets. So if I work for Microsoft and they're announcing the next Windows OS system, and it's going to have all these amazing features that's going to blow every competitor out of the water, including Apple. Now, I am part of the team that develops that program, and eventually, maybe some way through the process before it gets released and made public, I leave the job. I go somewhere else. Maybe I go to Microsoft. Hey, I'm going to Microsoft. Hey. You're going to Microsoft. You need to sign this form that says you will not disperse any of our technology or anything we're doing here at Microsoft work related into the product. So I signed that, meaning I can still talk about my experience at Microsoft as a worker, but I can't talk about the work I did there. Now, why is this important? Because the way they use the NDA, as far as we understand, is hiding everything. Meaning, she can't even say how she took a crap in took a crap in the bathroom, or how she ate her lunch. It sounds like she couldn't say anything. That's crazy. She shouldn't be signing those type of agreements, but it sounds like they forced her to do it. Like, why do you do an NDA that states that you have consensual? That sounds weird. August Virgo saying there are doable high closets, and closets rods can be hold up of 100 pounds. I mean, is she okay? I don't know. I mean, I'm not someone who thinks about this. I feel you should need something higher, but okay. Maybe it was a higher closet. I don't know. Now, the last thing is the legal status update in general. She confirmed her involvement in a covert investigation into human trafficking and criminal misconduct by federal authorities, noting she had provided them with her evidence when it came to that. Now, like we said before, the court hearing is currently scheduled for June 2026 to determine whether the case will be proceed to open court or be moved to private arbitration as requested by the McMahon's legal team. So, in Janel's side, she hopes this court goes public because she knows that she will get more help that way through jury. But if she goes through arbitration, the McMahon legal team can make it work for their favor. So we're dealing with two things, and we won't know until June what happens.